right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon to any and all of you catching this live or catching the replay for this. And I've got a different stream for this weekend. Usually I play a video game or I talk to somebody about a video game, but this time I'm going to fly solo like Han Solo and talk about all the games that I completed in the year of our Lord and Savior 2025. And it should be an interesting stream because I've got some video clips I'll pull up from the different games in case people are curious like what it looks like, and I'll try my best to keep everything short because I got a lot of games to get through. So this is gonna be pretty interesting to see how well I can sell you on at least most of these games. Not all of them, but most of them. So, but without further ado, we'll just get jumped right into this, and I'm going to actually turn on some music here. Let me get this started. But good to see Mr. Carl of RNG there. Thanks for coming on by live. And I've got some music here. I'll probably have to swap out the soundtrack while I am playing here. So, and I gotta wait for. Okay, never mind. That's good. So, this past year, I had to do this challenge. I was forced against my will to do this challenge with Carl of RNG and Nerdy Neo. And it was basically who can complete the most games in a single year of 365 days. And this year was actually probably the most video games that I've played in a single year and completed. I've never really cared track in the past, but pretty sure I've never completed more than 65 games in a year. So that was pretty interesting, just going through and playing a bunch of games like that. Some of them rushing through them, some of them taking my time. But besides that, it was quite a busy year just playing video games in general. So within this challenge, we also had a couple mini challenges that we, if we completed, we would get bonus points for. And so I was able to complete a lot of those compared to them. So hopefully, that'll give me a good amount of points. We'll see. But I've grouped them into 3 different groups, so it's easier for me to talk about those first before I roll into the regular games that I played throughout the year. So, and hopefully YouTube doesn't try to flag me for. It's trying to hit me for some. It's giving me the yellow. What do you call it? The yellow triangle or whatever, for flag content. Even though I'm just playing video game music, but whatever. All right, let me start with. So the first the first group of games that we'll talk about are 10 games that I played across 10 different consoles. And another kind of goal of mine this year was to actually play real games, not ROMs or not. To try to avoid as many digital games as I could and play actual physical games. So I've got my little camera here to show you guys some games that I have from my actual collection, because unlike most people, I do collect, I buy physical games. So we'll roll right into this. Let me get my autistic chart here that has all the games that I completed this year. So we'll start with. Actually, I think this is the first game I completed this year, if not the second. But we'll start with Toy Story 2 here for the Nintendo 64. And yeah, this game, and I'll pull up a example while I talk about it. This is a childhood game of mine that I really enjoyed. It's a simple 3D platformer, and it was released on the 64, the PS1. I'm not sure about the Dreamcast, but basically around that era of games. And it's a fun game. It's just, there's about, I don't know, 10 to 13 levels. And then you go through and you collect Pizza Planet tokens, or kind of like the Mario stars, I guess you can say. And real quickly, what's up, Dread Roberts? Thanks for coming in. Of course, thanks for the thumbnail. Awesome job on the thumbnail, man. I really appreciate you kind of doing that last minute for me, because I wanted to utilize you for your thumbnail making skills. So let me get this okay, here we go. So I'll just have the game running in the background while I talk about it. But I'll. So you're playing as obviously Buzz Lightyear here. You're jumping around and you're platforming, and the levels are based off of they're mostly based off of scenes that are not in the movie, which is kind of funny. So the first level is obviously Andy's room. The next level is the backyard. The level after that is a boss fight. The level after that, you're in a construction area. There's like some new places you go to. But overall, it's just a really fun game like a very fun, simple 3D platformer to play on the N64. And I had a lot of fun with it. I did have issues with it early on in the year. My expansion pack for the 64 is a bit finicky. So there was a time I was playing it that it kind of like crashed the game. And I had my save there, so I was fine. But that was kind of scary. So I had to like restart my progress a little bit. But yeah, so besides this, the game has a great soundtrack. I love the soundtrack in this game. And I love the kind of like power-ups you collect through the game. I wouldn't say it has a Metroidvania type of element to it, but it's more like Zelda, I guess you can say, where if you get a power-up, you have to sometimes go back a couple levels to collect a different Pizza Planet token in order, like, you have to use that power-up to get it. So that's a kind of neat point about it is there is some kind of replay going on between the different levels, and that makes the game a little bit more it keeps it interesting, I guess you can say. I'll fast forward to like here's like kind of like the backyard level here. You're running around a couple different people's front lawns and back lawns, I guess. I don't know, it's a bit confusing. The construction zone is one of my favorites because I think it has the tallest level in the game, and it's a pretty tough level. This is a pretty tough level to climb up to the top, so it really tests your 3D platforming skills there. So, yeah, love this game to death. Really glad I was able to replay it because I got a physical version of it, as you can see on the camera there. So, some issues I had with it. I thought it was too short of a game. I beat it pretty quickly, like less than 4 hours, and that's like 100%ing it too. So, a bit too short compared to like when you got like Mario 64 or Rayman, the Great Escape, like other like big 3D platformers. This one's pretty small, but I guess I expect nothing less from like old school Disney games to not be like over the top. So yeah, it was a lot of fun revisiting this and actually completing it for the first time in like my entire life, I guess you could say. Because growing up, I never was able to get past I think the final couple levels because they were really difficult. So a lot of fun this game, and I was glad that I was able to replay it this year. So Toy Story 2. So this is once again part of the 10 games that I completed across 10 different consoles. Moving on, we've got Sly Cooper, the Sly Cooper collection, and specifically I played Sly 2. And Sly 2 was a really interesting game. Once again, a different kind of like 3D platformer puzzle type of game. And I'll pull up some footage here for you guys. And it was a lot of fun kind of getting into the Sly Cooper series because that was something I didn't grow up with. I didn't play PlayStation games growing up. So this was definitely a new experience for me. I played the first Sly game last year. So this year I decided just to play Sly 2. And then hopefully, or I should say 2025, I played Sly 2. This year in 26, I hope to play Sly 3 on the Vita as well. So a lot of fun. What makes this version of, or I should say Sly 2, different than the original Sly Cooper game is not only are you controlling, obviously, Sly himself, but you're able to play as his two friends, too. And I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but let's see if there's if I can zoom, or if I can fast forward to more of the gameplay here. Oh, you got Bentley, and which is the turtle, and then is it? I can't remember the hippo's name. I want to say it's not Morg. I think it's Morg, but yeah. So it was what I'm trying to say is you instead of playing as one character, you actually get to choose between the three, and they all have like their own kind of like missions you need to complete with them. and that was like a different twist compared to like the first game. Oh, there he goes, Murray. Yeah, thank you. Murray is the hippo's name. Yeah, so you got Sly, Bentley, and Murray. And I thoroughly enjoyed the story in this game as well as the voice acting and everything. It was fantastic across the board. The little things you got to collect throughout the game as well. Music, it was fine. It wasn't anything memorable, but it was a fun game overall. And it was pretty fun playing it on the Vita as well. Like, I know you could get this game on like the PlayStation 4, for example, like as a collection, a modern collection, and it probably looks and runs a lot better. But on the Vita, it was fine. I did have some slowdowns here and there, but it was fine for a PS1 game coming to, you know, the PS Vita or PS2 game, I want to say. But yeah, it was really cool. I'm very thankful I got to I guess experience this, and looking forward once again to playing Sly 3 in 2026. I guess I'm trying to think of some bad points about it. Maybe it was a tad bit too long, because I remember the first game being pretty fast and loose. This game felt like it did drag towards the end, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I was thinking this game would be just as short as the first game, but no, they wanted to embellish a little bit more, I guess you can say. So, yeah. The other thing I could tell you about this game, other than like it has like the unique platforming to it, there are ways you can kind of break the game with the platforming, which is a lot fun compared to like, you know, other games. But yeah, and the story was definitely better in this game than the first game. There was a bit more higher stakes, as our friend Nerporio would like to talk about, because he likes his stakes well done. His stakes and stories well done. So, yep, Sly Cooper or Sly 2, I believe the name of it is Band of Thieves. Sly 2 Band of Thieves. Great game, and you should definitely go and check that out. All right, so next game we've got is going to be The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap for the Game Boy Advance. And this was a great game to return to. Only completing it once in my life, so being able to replay it all over again and complete it was a lot of fun. A game that was developed by Nintendo and Capcom. And this is just like an interesting Zelda game that nobody's ever really talked about. And I'm very shocked, because I think it's a very fun game. And yeah, I don't understand, because I love the game a lot. I thought it was a fun experience to revisit. And this time around, I got to play it on my analog pocket. So that was a lot of fun to play that on a like an HD screen there, LED screen, I should say, and hearing all the sounds and everything. It plays like a typical Zelda game, so you got to go around and collect some item or some story items to, you know, get to the final area of the game. And of course, you've got your normal like Zelda type of weapons you can collect for the dungeons. One of the kind of not so good points about this game when it comes to 100%ing it is you have these little kind of broken medallions that you need to kind of piece together. And if you piece them together, they will unlock like the way forward. They will also unlock kind of like some side quest related stuff. But to get those like half pieces medallions requires a bit of farming in the game, which is not really cool. I did not like that, the way you have to farm for them, and just hopefully you collect enough by the end of the game and all the right combinations as well, so that you can, you know, finish the game out if you're trying to 100% it. So I don't believe I collected everything. I think I got to like maybe 98% completion, and that was it, because I did not want to sit there and try to grind out the rest of those little medallions to collect. So the main gimmick of this game is you're able to shrink down and go back to normal size, because of like the lore and the specific like this hidden tribe of like little characters that you're trying to piece together this special sword that was created by them. So that's kind of like the gimmick of this game. You get to shrink down. So right now if I'm remembering correctly, Link is shrunk down in this temple right now, and then when you go out to the overworld, you can go back to your normal size. But there's a lot of hidden secrets throughout the game that requires you to shrink down in specific areas and then explore them and whatnot. So pretty charming game. You can play this on the Nintendo Switch Online if you have the Plus membership to play Game Boy Advance games, and it's well worth it if you're a big Zelda fan. I really think it's a how would you say it? I guess a hidden gem Zelda game that nobody talks about. So, and more people should talk about it. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was a fun kind of like relaxing game to play this year, unlike some other Zelda titles that I had to get through. So that was The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap, and here it is in its original box as well, which is hard to come by. So there you go. All right, next game we've got here. This is one that I actually played in 2024 and then turned around and replayed it in 2025. And it's part of a big series, a brand new series that I got into. And that is Ys Origin. And I've become a massive fan of the Ys series. And we'll talk more about it later. But for right now, this was part of the 10 for 10 type of game challenge that I was doing there. And I played this on the Switch, courtesy of Carl here. And this is a solid game if you just want to play it. And it's like, how do you say this? Like standalone, I guess you can say. In terms of story, this game takes place as a prequel. It's a prequel story from the first Ys game. But as a standalone game, it is a solid game, and I'll show you some gameplay right now. It's a good entry game. If you want to learn like what an action RPG is in this series, I highly recommend jumping into this game. I think you will enjoy it a lot. So let me just throw it up on screen here. How's it going there, Nos? So yeah, here we go. We've got Ys Origin on the screen right now. So it's an action RPG. So expect a lot of dialogue, a lot of talking, but expect a lot of action as well as you kind of like dungeon crawl through a wide variety of dungeons. And there's a lot of cool little like weapons you collect throughout the game and power-ups that are kind of reminiscent to Zelda as far as like the gameplay itself. But it has a whole level up system, which is like kind of important because in order to fight bosses, you should definitely be at a higher level or a level like a specific level. And every area lets you farm enemies to a certain extent, and then you'll kind of like slowly gain XP, and that means you're kind of at the recommended level for the boss. Like kind of like not the cap, but like a soft cap. There are ways you can break the game and farm more XP, which makes it easier for the boss fights in the future. But so let me get you into the gameplay here. Fast forward it a bit. Like I said, there's a lot of talk in this game, so. But yeah, you have. What makes this game cool is you have your weapon, you have your armor, and then you have like an accessory item, and then I think you also have a health item. The weapon and the armor can get upgraded at like your base camp. And what's interesting about that is you have to collect specific material throughout the game, and then you can go to your base camp and upgrade them. And if you take the time and farm it, you can farm it pretty quickly early in the game, and then you'll be, breezing or blasting your way through the rest of the game with high-level equipment and whatnot. There's a lot of puzzle mechanics to this game, so you got to either clear out a bunch of enemies in a room to unlock like that chest there, or to like maybe open the door or whatever. There's a lot of like when it comes to the puzzles, there's one specific puzzle in this game where you have to like look for something, and you have to be really paying attention to kind of like some dialogue cues as well as some environmental cues in order to kind of progress through the level. Otherwise, you'll get stuck. So it kind of makes you really focus on the game instead of just, blindly hacking and slashing your way through the game. So, yeah, this game was a lot of fun to kind of get myself into the Ys series. And like I said, it's a very good entry-level game for people to play as. What's cool about this game is actually three different characters you can play as. The first character is this young girl that has an axe and a shield, and she's more of a what do you call that, close combat type of fighter. This character you see on screen here is more of a magician, so they use like projectiles. And then there's a third character which you have to beat the game with the first two characters to unlock them, and that's kind of like, it unlocks like a hard mode, I guess you can say. And that third character is definitely a harder like way to play the game. So I played this game 3 times, and it was well worth playing the game 3 times over. The story's different, by the way, because you see kind of like a third of the story through each of the characters' eyes, so that's kind of cool. So you're not really wasting your time replaying the game three times over. Every boss fight is slightly different because of how the different main characters' combat mechanics work. So that makes it really interesting. How one way of killing the boss will not work the second way with the other characters. So yeah, really, really cool. I like the elemental abilities you have in this game with the fire, wind, and lightning. So that gives you, you can attack different enemies that way, and they have like their weaknesses to those elements too. So that's really neat. Love this game to death. Looking forward to replaying it maybe in the future on Nightmare mode, which is like the hardest difficulty, because I really want to challenge myself and see if I can do it. But yeah, Yeast Origin on the Nintendo Switch. You could get this game basically everywhere or any modern console, so definitely give it a shot. You guys will love it a lot. So that is Yeast Origin. Alright, next game we've got Castlevania Portrait of Ruin, and this was a real treat to play this year. I've been slowly making my way through the Castlevania games in general, and this year my goal was to try to tackle all the DS games, or in 2025 I should say, but I missed out on the last one, so I'll just play it this coming year. And I'll throw some gameplay here for you. This was a fantastic game. It felt like a real return to form when it comes to Symphony of the Night style gameplay. I won't say it's Castlevania gameplay, it's Symphony of the Night style gameplay. And I loved it a lot. The music was fantastic in this game. That's one of the kind of the highlights. The gameplay itself is also really unique, and I'll throw it on screen here, because you actually get to control 2 different characters. So one is your physical attacker, the other is the magical attacker. And it allows you to kind of switch back and forth, but you also have to solve puzzles with both of them, which was pretty interesting because one of the puzzles was a bit difficult to figure out, but you have to solve them with both of them. There's some other like interesting gameplay mechanics as well, with like using them in combat. It's an RPG, so it has like, you know, different weapons and armor you can wear to boost your stats, as well as like accessory items. Of course, it's got like the big map here in all, you know, Castlevania style games. This game in particular, you go through paintings, and the paintings have like small maps, and then you have like the main map, the main castle map that you're in right now. Or actually, I don't think it's this map. Anyways, and then there's a whole like story to it too, so you have to talk to people to kind of figure things out. There's a way to beat the game the wrong way, so if you kill like the wrong person, or if you don't do something correctly, you'll get like the bad ending to the game. I got the good ending to this game, so you have to like complete certain things in order to get to that point. But I thoroughly enjoyed this game. It was a lot of fun, and it has once you beat the game, it actually it unlocks a new mode, and that mode is called Richter mode. And Richter mode is basically kind of like a hard mode because you don't have any magic, and you're playing Castlevania Rondo of Blood style like throughout this game. And I played through it. I think I played about a quarter of that version, and it was a lot of fun, but I wanted to move on and play some newer games. So I'll have to go back and try to beat that game on Richter mode, because that was a lot of fun. And it's cool because this game also has a kind of like secret optional boss fight in order to fully awaken your vampire killer, which is the whip. And that fight, you have to actually fight Richter. And that was like one of the hardest fights I've done, like optional boss fights I've done in a Castlevania game. That was brutal because it was like two two characters like whipping each other, and you have to be very creative because they're pretty similar in their combat. So, um, yeah, that was crazy, but it was a lot of fun. It was well worth it because then I got a powered up whip and was able to slay Dracula in the end. So, besides that, this game you can play now on basically all the modern consoles because of the DS collection, the Dominus collection. I played on the original DS, so I had no save states and no rewinds and all that, like modern, how do you say that? Modern, I can't think of the word right now. I guess like easy mode for people like Nos that want to play in easy mode. But yeah, played it on the original format, and it was a lot of fun. I was expecting a lot of touchscreen type of stuff. The touchscreen stuff was probably the worst part about this game because in order to... oh, no, it wasn't this game. It was Dawn of Sorrows. My bad. That was the last game, which we'll get to that later. This game had minimal touchscreen related activities, which was fantastic. So it kept the core gameplay to the normal controls, and it was a lot of fun. So, Portrait of Ruin, great DS Castlevania game, and probably it's actually gonna... Right now, it's my favorite DS Castlevania game, so we'll see if the next one changes it for me. Alright, so, let's see. I'm gonna put that one last, because there's not a whole lot to talk about. One game that I revisited this year was Bionicle, the game for the Nintendo GameCube. And the reason why I revisited this year was... when I streamed it on the channel, for some odd reason, the audio did not come through to my headset for this game when I was streaming it, so I had to replay the game just so I could hear the audio all over again. So, decided to jump back into it and replay it, and I'll throw some gameplay up on the screen here for you guys. So, it's a simple console adventure game with some platforming. There's some annoying kind of like toboggan or sled levels. Like lava surfing is like the final level. That was terrible. As well as the regular like snowboarding type of level. That one's pretty bad as well. The rest of the game is pretty cool. The platforming, it's a very short game. You can beat it in like less than 2 hours if you're not like struggling a whole lot. And the mechanics of the game were a bit complicated at first until I read the manual, as everyone should. And I was able to figure out how to play it. But you basically need to be careful not to just spam your attacks, because you'll drain your energy too quickly, and otherwise you'll have like kind of like ineffective attacks. So but this game is supposed to follow the movie, kind of like it's like a prequel to the movie, but then takes place kind of during the beginning part of the movie. It's a bit weird. I don't know. I don't fully understand this, and I'm a Bionicle autist here, so yeah. Besides that, it has a really interesting soundtrack. It's all like orchestrated, and that was really cool to be able to actually hear it. The voice acting is pretty cringe. It's like early 2000s cheap video game voice acting. And the combat is pretty repetitive. Like as far as like the enemies you fight, they're all the same. A lot of the boss fights are not super creative. Some of them you can spam and be able to beat them pretty quickly. Some of them not so much. There are some collectibles here for, I think, comic-related stuff as well. And there are some, like, trailers and stuff you can watch for, like, the movie and some other promotional stuff inside the game. So this was, like, an era where they would, put stuff in the game like that. And I thought that was kind of cool, but... Yeah, so as you can see there, you gotta be careful not to spam your attacks, because you're attacking with like energy, which is a bit weird, instead of like physical attacks. And yeah, so I think it's a pretty decent looking game for the GameCube. Just it's really short. Like it's like I said, less than 2 hours. You could beat it in an hour if you know exactly what you're doing. Way too short. So it was fun to revisit. It's one of those games that you kind of revisit like every few years, like not all the time, but yeah, not too bad. All right, now a game that I did not enjoy as much, and that was Lara Croft Tomb Raider Anniversary for the Nintendo Wii. And this game, holy smokes, this was like This was not cancer levels, but it was pretty bad. Like there were times in this game where I was definitely losing my patience playing this game. And I'll throw it up on screen here. Now, oddly enough, it was not because of the motion controls. Like a lot of people will blame the motion controls for everything. It really wasn't the motion controls. It was just the gameplay itself was a bit weird. And the puzzles were super, I don't know how I guess like ambiguous. Like they just didn't make sense. Like there was one room in particular where you needed to like jump across and do like, oh, you needed to do like this crazy wall jump with your grapple. And the game doesn't teach you that at all. Unless you go to the tutorial that is like a separate menu in the game and they teach you like all of Laura's moves in that that sounds funny when you say it like that. You learn all her moves in this tutorial. And I was like, oh, I didn't know you can do this like crazy wall jump mechanic with the grapple. And yeah, you can only learn that in that tutorial room, which was like, okay, I wish I would have done that first, because the game doesn't force you into the tutorial. You can actually just play the game from the beginning. So anyways, now this is a game I played I think a long time ago, because I remember playing this on the computer, and it was an interesting game. I never got past like the first like chapter, I guess you can call it, which is like this like temple inside the freezing mountain, but it's like tropical or whatever, this like lost world as some people would call it. The combat was pretty funny because the lock-on made it really easy to dodge the enemies here, or the animals, excuse me. And then of course you could just spam your pistols there, and as long as you're dodging, you'll like take minimal damage. Yeah, like all of this stuff here, like the jumping and the parkouring and stuff, I just could not figure it out. It was just like well over my head. A lot of times too, the gaps that you need to jump, it's not clear that you can actually make the gap. I think that's a design decision. Like they want you to like really take that leap of faith. I don't know. It was just moments in this game where it's like I jumped and I know I can reach it, but like she wouldn't grab the ledge because you have to push a button to grab the ledge. There's no like auto grabbing the ledge, if that makes sense. So, but I will say it did have a pretty cool boss fight, which I will show if I can find it real quickly. Scrub through this photo or video. Was it at the end of the game here? Maybe not. Oh no, it was. Yeah, here it is. It had a hilarious boss fight in the early game. I completely forgot there were dinosaurs in this game. So, yeah. Fighting a T-Rex with dual 50 Desert Eagles or whatever pistols that she has on her. That was pretty funny. Yes, there was also quick time events that if you were not, using your motion controls correctly, you would definitely get destroyed by the quick time events. So that was something. But I will say I was surprised by the different like levels in this game. Like as you progress through the game, like you're in this I'm trying to remember what country you were in the beginning of the game. It was either Peru. I think it was Peru. And then the next place you go to is somewhere in Greece, I want to say. And then after that, you go to you go somewhere, like you go to like some pretty drastic different areas throughout the game, which is pretty impressive. And it makes me more excited for the remake that's coming out this coming year in 2026, because I won't spoil the end game, but the end game has some pretty crazy levels and monsters that you have to fight, and they're gonna be pretty wild seeing in like the 2026 graphics and everything. Oh yeah, this room right here was insane. Let me rewind this. The puzzle for this room up ahead, yeah, grabbing on these ledges here, that was ridiculous. Like that was so stupidly hard. I don't know why. All right, let me skip through. Yeah, so this main room here has a ton of like puzzles you need to solve. And like for example, how are you supposed to know you need to shoot at that in order to knock down that pillar? I didn't know that. Yeah, of course you gotta pull those things to you. There's like 4 different doors you have to go through, and all those doors have like their own challenges to get through, and then I think you get something at the end of them, or you unlock like the way forward. This was like a really long part of the game that took me like a couple hours to get through, which was a bit frustrating. You've got the stupid bats, which are like the worst enemies in this game, that come out of nowhere and they just harass you. That was frustrating. Like I said, I will say the Wii aiming was pretty bad in a lot of areas, especially when you need to like quickly attack those bats before they like knock you off of the platform. I'd be curious to play this on PC with like normal controls, like how would that be? And I kind of hope it's not as agitating in the remake, so we'll see. Anyways, I spent way too much time talking about this game that I definitely never want to revisit, so I don't recommend this game. Wait for the remake to come out. They'll fix everything. Alright, next game. Another one gifted to me by Carl here. Onimusha Warlords, and this was a fantastic game to play this year, and put Onimusha on the map for me, on my personal map. And yeah, this was a lot of fun. Different game for me, I guess you can say, like as terms of like gameplay. And I will put up some footage here. This was actually, I think, the first game I've ever played with forced camera perspective. So that was like an interesting experience, just running around in these like forced camera views and having to attack enemies that way. And yeah, it was interesting just running around, and you got to collect souls, which was the main way of like powering up your character and everything, and like, you know, leveling up your weapons and whatnot. Also, you got to make sure you kill the enemies, because that was actually kind of funny. You know, killing enemies and then they come back to life, so make sure you collect them souls. The puzzle mechanics in this game was pretty interesting as well. A lot of them were like, I think a lot of them required like a little bit of math skills, a little bit of knowing how to shift around objects, like those 3x3 puzzles. You know, you got to move around the squares to make the image. They had puzzles like that. They of course had like normal kind of like Zelda type of puzzles, where you need to take like an item from one area and go to a completely different area and use that item. So not really Metroidvania per se. It's just more Zelda style in that regard. Because you can't like go all the way back to previous areas. I think like some areas get locked off while you play the game, and you're only kind of forced in like these specific medium to large size areas to run around in. So yeah, combat was crazy, because a lot of enemies, like, you can't just hack and slash your way through. You gotta really know how to dodge and whatnot, and be careful of the enemies, because they'll just like they'll ruin your day easily in this game. It had a cool story to it. It had some pretty hard boss battles as well. Like, here's a cryptic message here, because you can find that throughout the game, and you'll piece together like the whole kind of story there, which is kind of cool. Through those cryptic little letters that are left behind. There was like a character change a couple times throughout the game. So you have to play as this like female ninja, so her play style is a bit different. This game also has limited health items, so you can't just like always rely on healing yourself with like you know, like the herb, I guess you can call it. That's what I call it, the herb. I know there's a way to heal yourself like normally at these little kind of like, I don't know what they're called. These like glowing, I don't know what they're called. I guess like artifacts or whatever. You'll be able to heal there, but if you're like far away from that, then you need to rely on the herb items to heal. So it was a beautiful game to play. I liked the art style to the game. I liked the enemy style, as well as like just all the little like, you know, I guess you could say just the world you're running around, the environment. Yeah, it was a fun game to play. I look forward to playing the next 2 games whenever I get my hands on them. So once again, you can play this on PS4. You can play it on Switch. You can play it on PC, of course. And it was definitely a fun game to play. I definitely want to return to it someday and see how fast I can get through the game, because it is a pretty short game. You can beat it in like 4 hours. And that's if you mildly know what you're doing. So love this game. It was a great game to play. I highly recommend for anybody and everybody to try this game. So Onimusha Warlords on the PS4. Alright, one of the second to last games here. This will be a quick one. So Halo Reach. I had to play this game in order to kind of palate cleanse from a few of the other games that I was playing at the time that were terrible. And the last game we'll talk about in this 10 for 10 category is one of the reasons why I had to play Halo Reach. But I'll just throw some simple gameplay up here. I know a lot of you guys know about Halo. You watch me play Halo, so there's not a whole lot to really talk about here. But Halo Reach, one of my favorite Halo games. I love revisiting this game as often as I can, both on PC and on the 360. I prefer the PC version because it looks a lot nicer, and you can play with mouse and keyboard, which is like the preferred way of playing this game. And I just have a lot of good memories playing Halo Reach, so not a whole lot to say. I have a stream of me playing this, so you can watch me gush about this game. But yeah, this game was it was just a fun palate cleanse game to play. So Halo Reach for the 360. I'm gonna move this to the floor real quickly because I'm running out of desk room here. Alright, so the last game for the 10 for 10, I don't have a physical copy of it, so I had to play it on my Xbox, but I will pull up some gameplay for it. And this was a game that I was actually really disappointed in because I had some expectations going into it. And that is Rayman 3 HD. So Rayman 3 came out on the GameCube, the Xbox, the PS2, and then years later they did an HD remaster per se for the 360. So I played technically that game, the 3D game, or the HD game, excuse me, but it's technically the original game as well because that's what it is on the Xbox. And this game was terrible. So I'm a big fan of Rayman 2, and I love the platforming. I love the kind of puzzle solving. The combat in Rayman 2 is not annoying, but this game really, really focuses on the combat. It's terrible. There's power-ups you get, Super Mario 64 style power-ups that are time limited, and you need to fight enemies with those power-ups, and it just doesn't work half the time when you're fighting them. The power-ups were not the best. I don't even remember it because I banished this terrible game from my memory. It was just such a bad game to play. Rayman 2 is just the better of the Rayman games, the 3D Rayman games, I should say. Let me fast forward a bit here. Yeah, there's a bunch of these weird mini games that you come across. One of the worst type of mini games in here are when you're going from level to level. Yeah, here it is. Let me rewind this. You have this really dumb surfing game, this light rail surfing game, and if you fall off, you kind of restart. I don't think there's checkpoints in this. You restart at the beginning. This was such a waste of time to go through. I think it was done for a point system. It was so stupid. I hated doing that. I think it was 6 or 7 times throughout this game. It was terrible. Yeah, here's one of the power-ups you have. I just did not have a fun time playing this game. It was really, really bad. The enemies did not want to melt away as easily as I thought they would, and yeah, I did not like the dialogue was really weird. It was really cringe in this game. I don't know what the humor was that they were trying to go for. Yeah, this was just such a weird game, and so I'm glad that I beat it because I never have to play this game again, and I can go back and play Rayman 2, the superior game, and preserve my childhood memory of Rayman that way. So yeah, that was Rayman 3, and I don't really recommend this game unless it's a hand-me-down game. I just don't recommend this game at all. Alright, so that was the 10 for 10 games, 10 games across 10 different consoles, and we're gonna move on to my 5. So another like mini challenge I have was 5 games that you hate slash dislike, and if you beat them, you get like extra points. So I was able to complete all those games, and 2 of them were JRPGs, by the way, so they took quite a bit of time. But I will go through the 5 games that I beat that I disliked. 4 of them I have the actual physicals for. The other one was one that Carl sent me, and then I shipped back to him, so I don't have that on me right now, but I'll have to pull up some gameplay. So the first one was Link's Awakening, the director's cut. And yes, I am not a big fan of this game. I think it's one of the most overhyped Zelda games to date. More overhyped than Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, as a lot of people will talk about. And I posted my review on it, so it kind of has my gripes about it. But one of my main gripes about it is the world traversal in this game, and I'll pull it up here. So there's a lot of the game. The map itself is like a maze, which is really frustrating. So you have like limited areas that you can run around through, and if you don't unlock those fast travel points, it makes it a tedious to get around through this game. The dungeons, I guess you could say the range of difficulty for the dungeons, they range from brain dead easy to like infuriatingly like annoying. Just I don't understand like why there was no balance with the dungeons, like at least making most of them like medium to easy or like medium to difficult. No, there's like some dungeons you go through like an easy one, like okay, that was pretty easy. You go to the next one, it's like frustrating because you have to like go in and out, or you have to make sure you hit switches a specific way, all this nonsense. So the balancing of the dungeons was terrible in my opinion. I didn't find like the story just memorable as a lot of people like to make it memorable. I don't understand like why everybody simps for this island girl in this game, because you only see her like a few times throughout the game, like part of the main story. There's a lot of collecting in this game, like a lot of collecting, especially for like using your like power-ups and whatnot. But and the worst thing about the game would be the sound design. So let's see, how do I explain this? So you have your music, right? And then you also have your gameplay sound effects, like swinging a sword, throwing the bombs, or whatever. Well, while you're in the overworld, there'll be random times where if you cut down some grass, you'll get like a power-up item, and that power-up item gives you like kind of like a shield, so it protects your hearts. I think there's one that either gives you like a weapon boost or whatever. That little jingle that plays when you get that power-up, which you can get that power-up like every 2 screens, like it's like very easy to get it, is the same like 4 notes playing on repeat for like 20 to 30 seconds. It was like driving me nuts that I couldn't hear the music of this game. So I think about 2 dungeons into this game, I decided to play it on mute. I played the rest of the game on mute. I was not going to listen to the soundtrack or the sound effects to this game. It is terrible. I don't know, like, people say they love playing this game. I guarantee a lot of these people played it on, like, silent. There's just no way people played this with the audio turned on. It's not a good game when it comes to, like, sound design. It has a good soundtrack. You just can't hear it half the time because you got all these, like, power-ups that you're collecting, or, like, the random sound effects of, like, enemies and stuff, like, interrupting the music. And I understand that's, like, a graphical, or, not graphical, a hardware limitation. But boy, was that irritating, man. So, I'm glad I got through this game because I never really want to play this game again. I have no desire to play Link's Awakening ever again. So, this one is going into the vault, and we're leaving it behind. So, sorry, Link's Awakening DX. I muted the wrong thing there. The next one I have on a list that was, I think, worse. It's probably the worst game I've ever played to date. And that is Sonic and the Secret Rings. And I'm going to take a swig of water here. So, what makes this terrible? Believe it or not, as much as I love the Nintendo Wii and the motion controls, when implemented incorrectly, it definitely can be a terrible experience. And Sonic and the Secret Rings is one of those experiences. So I will pull it up on screen. Fun fact, this game was developed alongside, like around the same time, or along with Sonic 06. So let that sink in a little bit. So I like the premise of the game, like the story of it, and the like how, like, you know, Sonic is trapped in like Arabian Nights basically, and you're going through like an Aladdin type of like world, and you have you have to collect 7 rings to kind of like escape this world. So I like the premise of it. It has like a weird RPG mechanic to it, which I'll explain a bit later. But yeah, the motion controls of this game is basically Sonic is auto running forward, and if you have the Wii remote tilted forward, if you have it tilted back, he can go backwards, and then if you balance it, then yeah, he'll stop. But most of the time, he's going to be auto running forward. And so that makes it really, really difficult to kind of like stop on a dime when you're running through these like high-speed levels. And that's where it gets frustrating when you get into the little challenges that you do throughout the game. So this is like kind of like the prologue here, so it kind of teaches you like the different gameplay mechanics. But if I can fast forward to, oh, here we go. So there's like 8 different worlds you go to, or like environments, and every environment has like a mission list. Oh, let me fast forward it here. Yeah, that's the story. We don't really need to see the story right now. I'll show you the mission list here. It's an interesting premise. So, yeah, you have like all of these missions, and they're kind of like you play the main mission, which is like get through the level, and it shows you like the entire level. And then after that, you do these missions that are like parts of the level, like small chunks. And that's fine, except when a lot of these levels are like you need to like not take damage, or you need to like get to the end of the level by like racing like this like floating like fairy object or whatever, and you're fighting the Wii remote controls the entire time. And that was insane, and it made the game like just really, really frustrating, like having to deal with that. Boss fights were really bad too, because the boss fights are kind of like on auto run as well. And if your timing is really bad, because once again the motion controls are not as reactive as like you would think they would be, you're like redoing boss fights over and over and over and over again. So that part was like that's like I said, the motion controls is what makes this game terrible. I would love to play. There's like a modded version of this game that uses like normal controls, and I want to play it in that version and see if that makes the game better. And I have a funny feeling it might, but I'll let you know whenever I get around to doing that. So the last thing I'll say about this game is the RPG mechanics. So what's interesting is you have like these 4 ring sets, and you collect like it's not like a ring you have like your primary ring, but you have like these skills, and you need to use like your skill points to like use the skills. Like you have like a total amount. So like right now he's got like 3 skill points, and that ring bonus costs 3 skill points. So you basically build like your own skill list, which other Sonic games have done, but this one like takes it like to like the next level in a bad way, where like all of your basic Sonic skills are like locked behind these skill points. Like everything from like turning on a dime, stopping on a dime, having like high speed, being able to maneuver in the air more easily. Like all of those are locked behind skill points, which is like ridiculous. So the first couple hours of the game are rough because you're trying to like learn how to, strangle this Wii remote while you're playing the game. And then as you unlock skills, it makes it a little bit easier to maneuver around, and you can buy those skill points or use those skill points. But man, that I don't know what they were thinking about this either. Like it just doesn't make sense to lock behind like a paywall basically all of these essential skills that like kind of like basic skills that Sonic uses in other 3D games. So anyways, that was it was brutal replaying this game all over again. So especially because I played it in 2024, so I didn't have a long enough gap to avoid playing this game. Oh, I guess I had the YouTube window off there. My bad. All right, let me restart the music here because it stopped. So let's see, what are we gonna listen to now? Actually, let's listen to this. There we go. All right, so the next game on my list that one of the games I anticipated that I was not gonna like, and I walked away mildly, like slightly different change of opinion, and that was Fire Emblem Three Houses on Nintendo Switch. So backstory with this is I remember when this game first came out, and I was not interested in playing it only because I was not a big fan of the art style. I thought the art style looked really, really goofy at the time. It kind of grew on me while I was playing the game, but I will say a lot of the character designs are still pretty bad. Like, they just look goofy, like their outfits or their face structure and everything. They just look really, really goofy. So, yeah, Fire Emblem Three Houses. The game wants you to play this game like, you know, four different times. I only played it through once. I'm not gonna replay this game 4 different times. That's ridiculous. I don't have time for that. But it basically takes elements from Persona and Fire Emblem and mixes them together, and you have like a calendar system where you need to basically choose if you're going to level up your students because you're playing as a professor, or if you're going to do activities to like boost their relationships with them, or if you're going to I think like boost your own stats as well. And you have like a time limit, so you have to do those like on this day or this other day. You also have like, if you want to go into battle, that takes up a day as well. So you're doing everything within this like calendar system, which is like very like antithetical to Fire Emblem, because Fire Emblem has always been like a chapter to chapter type of game, like going from story to story or chapter to chapter with the story. This game decides it wants to, you know, copy Persona and add like a Persona element to it. And I wasn't a big fan of that because I like those two as like separate gameplay, like two different games, not combined together. And of course, this game attracted the massive normie audience with that Persona-style gameplay. So, a lot of this game is forgettable, story-wise. In the beginning, I should say. Towards the middle, it depends on the path you choose, of course. Towards the middle to the end of the game, the story gets really interesting. A lot of the characters are easily forgettable as well. The combat was fine in the beginning until the game decides to start throwing at you like monsters, like giant monsters, like alien-looking monsters. And that was frustrating because you need to basically you need to gang up on the monsters. So fighting them like 4 to 5 units on one monster in order to quickly get rid of them. And that was just... And those monsters hit really heavy too. They can knock out your guys in like one hit. I was not a big fan of that, especially when the game... About halfway through the game, like every battle you walk into is just littered with monsters. I understand if you put them like here and there, but when the game is like, okay, now you gotta fight like 5 to 10 monsters in one map. Okay, that's ridiculous. Like, where's like the fun in this? Like, this has become like more of a challenge than like actually having fun with the game, especially if you're not playing on a challenging difficulty. It's one thing if you're playing on a challenging difficulty. When you're playing like a casual playthrough of this game and you're just like, you know, slaying monsters like you're Vikings, then is this really a Fire Emblem game or is this like a completely different game? So, the tea time or the like what they're doing here with the meals was kind of funny. That has become like a staple with Fire Emblem games now, is to do like this like support stuff with your characters here. So always you gotta take the ladies out for meals in order to boost your relationships with them. So that was kind of funny. Some of the conversations are pretty interesting as well. But yeah, it was interesting playing this game, like actually being able to play this game and have like an opinion on it now. But yeah, I'll never play this game again. I have no desire to return to this game and play through the other 3 different storylines. So, Fire Emblem Three Houses, if you want a big time waster, this is your game right here. You could sink like an insane amount of hours into this game. if you're looking into wasting your time, I should say. All right. One of the last games I've got here physically before I go into the final game, and this one I just completed recently. So Xenoblade 2 for the Nintendo Switch as well. And boy, is this is a game that I've been actively avoiding for years. So I will post it up. I'll post or put the video up here on screen. So this game is obviously it came out on the Nintendo Switch, so it was after the quote-unquote massive success of Xenoblade Chronicles. But this game really takes it in a different direction in terms of story, in terms of like characters and their like character development, and of course in the gameplay itself. So instead of like traversing across like one giant world, you're traversing across one giant world that has like I think it's like 8 to 10 like medium-sized worlds or large worlds. And that was very different. You could fast travel, of course, like once you've unlocked those fast travel points, but the world exploration was very interesting and unique. I didn't really mind it too much. The main story was pretty lame in the beginning of this game. So you're following this boy who's like, he's a salvager. So he's like trying to like, you know, make ends meet by like collecting junk at the bottom of the ocean. And then like he gets this job to go help these guys find something on a ship. And that's where he finds his first waifu. And then after that, he gets murked right then and there, and his waifu brings him back to life. And now you're on this journey to apparently get to paradise with your so you can live in paradise with your waifu. And you go through the rest of this game and you meet all these different characters and you start building your harem of waifus, and that's legit what happens in this game. And you get to the end of the game and you obviously you win the day and whatnot. But like the journey in between was just like really, really strange. Like the different characters you meet, there was like no sense of, I guess, like urgency in this game, or no sense of real danger until about 3/4 of the way in. And then it's like, oh, okay, now like the world is actually starting to change. Like there's some big things happening here. The whole gameplay mechanic revolves around these blades that you collect. And I will let me fast forward to some actual gameplay here. It is a JRPG, so there's a lot of sitting around and talking to people. Let's see, where's the gameplay? Here we go. So you have these blades, and the blades basically are they're like living weapons that give you like different powers, and they have like different elemental abilities. And the way to collect the blades in this game, no joke, is from a gacha system. So you basically collect them on the if you defeat an enemy, and if they drop like that type of like it's called a core crystal. If they drop it, you go into this submenu, and the submenu has you choose between your drivers, because the main characters are called drivers, and they control the blades. You go into the submenu, you choose your driver, and then the driver has a choice of choosing which core crystal they want to use. And then when you activate the core crystal, it does a whole gacha animation to it, like, revealing what it is. And then you get randomly chosen like what that blade's going to be, and it's all randomized. Like there are ways of like how do I say this, like getting different blades like through like rarer ones, like through like specific core crystals that are like more rare or whatever. But it's at the end of the day, it's still like this gacha mechanic where it's randomized. And that I love how everyone talks about this game, but they never talk about the gacha mechanics in this game. So if you're trying to collect all the blades in this game, you will be sinking a lot of time going through the animation of unlocking the blade and doing all this other nonsense just to get it. And that was just ridiculous. And also, you have like a max cap of blades that you can hold on to, so you need to like basically delete them, like throw them out. or they call them like releasing them, like releasing them into the wild in order to like free up inventory space. So that was a bit tedious, like trying to collect a lot of like the stronger blades, because there's a lot of like generic blades that you can find throughout this game. So that was like kind of annoying and different. But one of the other annoying parts about this game was this thing called field skills. So while you're playing the game, there are like moments where you need to activate a field skill to like open a door or unlock a door, or to do like a high jump to like get to this like other area, or to I'm trying to think of it, like dissipate this like wind tunnel or whatever, or destroy this rock. Well, you can only do that field skill if the blade that you have in your party has that required level to it. And what makes it really annoying is you need to actually grind out your blade's levels, and you need to like, there are specific ways of doing it. Like you can't just go into battle and do like XP grinding. You actually have to do kind of like support grinding. So you need to like give them treats, or you need to like do this specific move in battle like X amount of times to unlock this like to unlock that skill. And some of those field skills had some ridiculous like caveats in order to unlock them. Like one of them was you needed to like feed your blade, or feed your character actually, like 10 of their favorite items. And if you don't know where like that item is, then you're kind of out of luck, and you have to go look up online like, where's this item. So then once you find that item, you gotta go and farm it, right? And then you're farming it for a while, or you gotta go buy it from like the shop, for example, and then you gotta feed it to your character and hope that that's like unlocking it. And you have to do that like multiple times through the game, like during the story. So it's one thing if you're doing it, if you're like exploring the world by yourself, like kind of like free roaming, but when it's part of the story as a way of like kind of it's kind of like a security check in a way, like, hey, before you get through the rest of the story, you should be up to this level with your blades. That is very frustrating, and that should be something that should be left alone to like combat. Like, you should get skill checked in combat, not in like field skills that have nothing else to do with the rest of the game, except for like, you know, exploring the world. So that was so frustrating to like deal with that on several occasions. That it really ruined the kind of like the exploration of this game for me, like when it came to the story. So I still have to write a review for this game, but I gotta really put my thoughts onto paper for this. But yeah, I don't really ever plan on replaying this game again. I went into it knowing that this game was not going to be that great, and I walked away with more or less the same opinion. I do like the main character a little bit more now. I thought he had a decent character progression through this game, but other than that, like the rest of the game, the story is like whatever. It wasn't and I don't like saying this, but it really didn't feel high stakes enough like the first game. And the third game, Xenoblade 3, is like insanely, like it's on a different level when it comes to like world-ending catastrophes and stuff like that. Like this game is like kindergarten for that. So I guess this is kind of like baby's first JRPG, because boy, does this have a ton of fan service in this game. And that's the only thing people talk about when it comes to this game, is the fan service. Nothing else, just the fan service. And I mean, I like good fan service, but I do like a good story and good gameplay and good character, like character progression and everything. And this game only delivers on like one front. So this game is not required. If you want to play the other Xenoblade games, this game is not required to play it. Just letting you know right now. So, anyways, Xenoblade 2, easily forgettable, this game. Oh boy, it's already been like an hour and 10 minutes, and I've only gone through like 15, I think, out of the 65 games I completed this year. So, appreciate you guys listening and hanging in there. We're going to keep going through this. Now, the next game that I'll have to throw up here, I don't have the actual physical copy of this game, so this is, I'll have to just show you some gameplay. This game was awful. Awful, and I'm going to trigger a ton of people with this. But Star Fox Adventures. This was probably, I want to say it's a bad game in terms of like, when it comes to like Sonic and the Secret Rings, like that's a really really bad game. But this is just like it's a game that lacks identity because it doesn't know what type of game it wants to be. So it has Star Fox as the name. It is by far like not a Star Fox game in any, in any how would you say this, like in terms of like the title of the game, Star Fox. This is a adventure game. It's a 3D adventure game, and it has like puzzle mechanics to it that are kind of similar to Legend of Zelda per se, but it has some of the most annoying like game or like world traversal aspects to it. Let's see if I can fast forward to it. So every time, so what happens is this game is you visited Dinosaur Planet. I think the game is called or the planet's called is it Saurion? Anyways, the planet got split up into like 6 different chunks or whatever, and you need to like piece back the planet together. Well, of course you're Star Fox, so you can fly around in your R-wing. Well, in order to fly from one section of the planet to the other, you have to go through the quote-unquote classic Star Fox experience of, flying through like an asteroid field. But this is something you have to do every single time you go from one major planet piece to the other. And it's almost like paying a toll, because you actually have to collect 2 to 6 rings depending on like, where you're going. And if you don't collect those within the level, then you have to redo the level and you like fail it. Now, thank God these are brain dead easy to get through, but the fact that you have to do this on repeat instead of like a one-time only challenge is like the dumbest decision I've ever like seen in a video game when it comes to like video game design. And that was only so that this game can still maintain the quote-unquote Star Fox experience. And the 30 seconds of gameplay, of Star Fox gameplay you get in this, you get it like 30 times over in this game, like spread across like, I think this was like a 7-hour game or 8-hour game. I need to double check. Yeah, so you got to pay your toll in order to go around this planet, and that was retarded. Like, terrible gameplay design there. The music in this game is goofy. I don't know what it's trying to do in this game, but it was definitely a goofy experience. It felt like I was watching one of those like early cartoons from like the 2000s that just had some of like the goofiest like voice actors and music or soundtracks to it. The voice acting in this game is awful. It's just really cringy and over the top, and just like, it's like antithetical to what Star Fox is, I guess you can say. Like, I know Star Fox has a lot of like funny one-liners and stuff, but at the end of the day, they're still pretty serious, because it is like a ragtag team of like ace pilots going out and like, getting the job done. But in this game, it's like Fox is like bumbling around, and he's just like making mistakes, or he's like too cocky, even though he's never really been like super cocky, if that makes sense. So it's just weird. Like, this game, like, look, you got like talking heads here. Like, this doesn't make any sense what's happening. The dinosaurs were kind of interesting, I will say. The boss fights they ranged from terrible to cool. Like, there's some cool boss fights in this game. But no, this game was awful. Like, I really did not enjoy this game, and I was trying to go into it with an open mind, but it was hard after like the first couple hours. The game falls apart after the first couple hours. Let me fast forward here. So you have this staff, right? The staff is kind of like your main weapon in this game. You don't use a gun, you use a staff to fight enemies. The combat is like just button mashing. You're just beating people over the head with like an old man with a cane, and there's no like combos or anything, so it gets really old really fast. Yeah, here's the combat. That's all you're doing. And it takes forever to beat these enemies. Just over and over and over again. Just doing the same moves. Alright, I'll fast forward to... I don't know. Actually, no. I gotta go pretty far into the game. So at some point... Oh, here it is. So at some point, your staff gains abilities. So everything from shooting fire, from like doing rocket jumps with it or whatever. You have to use the C stick on the GameCube controller to activate it, and that is like, in a lot of times in boss fights, you have to bounce around between those two different those abilities, and that is like really frustrating to navigate through with the C stick. I guess like they had no other way of mapping it, so they had to map it there, and they thought that was like a smart idea. It doesn't work in a lot of boss fight situations, and you'll be making mistakes all over again in there. So that was pretty bad in those boss fight situations. And then you also have to rely on your little dinosaur friend. Let me find him for you. His name is Trippy, and he is one of the most annoying side characters in all of gaming, because his AI was just, or the programming behind him was just not well like thought out. So there are puzzles in this game where you need to basically tell Trippy to stay in one spot, and then you will run off to another part of the level to activate a switch at the same time as he activates a switch. And there are times where he will just like follow you randomly. Even if you tell him to stay put, he'll just randomly follow you. Or there are times where you tell him to like breathe fire on this one spot to like activate a switch, because he can only do it apparently, even though you have the fire ability, and he just will not do it at all. Like, he refuses to do it. So there are times where this game is like fighting with you, which is really, really frustrating as you like try to solve these puzzles, and it makes like the gameplay experience, like, it just sours it immediately. So everything about this game is forgettable. Like, I don't remember the story, I don't remember the characters, I don't remember the music other than it was terrible. Like, it just sounded awful. This is not a Star Fox game, and this game was definitely created for people that are slow in nature, if you understand my my humor there. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of glad I got to play it because I got to see how bad it is, but there are better Star Fox games out there, folks, so this is not one of them. So yeah, Star Fox Adventure. So that closes out the 5 you know, my top 5 / hated / dislike games. So we'll end it there for that. And then we'll move into one final category before I kind of speed run my way through the rest of these games. So one other kind of mini challenge we did was Nerdy Neo, me, and Carl had to kind of like challenge each other to 2 games to beat. So the 2 games I got was one game called Lotus a Record of Lotus, D-Lit, or what is it, like D-Lit in Labyrinth or something like that. The name is like really weird. And then the other one was Beautiful Joe by Carl. So Nerdy Neo challenged me to Lotus, and then Carl was Beautiful Joe. So I'll talk about Beautiful Joe first because I have a physical copy right here. And I will bring up some gameplay on screen here. And how's it going there, Jana Banana? The favorite mod has arrived. Yes, she has arrived. Alright. I'm just pulling up some gameplay here of Beautiful Joe. So actually, at first, I really got frustrated with this game. And then, as I played through the game, because I was playing this on hard mode because I was challenged to play it on hard mode. I actually started liking the game, like, here and there. So you're playing like this, it's like a 3D, 2D side-scrolling type of game that has like combos and stuff. But your like superpower is you can speed up or you can slow down time. And that makes it really cool because when you slow down time, you can do like massive damage to enemies and like knock them out a lot quicker. Or if you speed up time, you could do it like much more quickly and like rack up the combos or whatever a lot faster, like your combo score. So that was really cool to do that, and it had a pretty good soundtrack as well. I thought the soundtrack was pretty funny. The like voice acting and stuff was really good as well. The power up type system that they have. So the game is a pretty tough game. It has like long checkpoints. So you got to get through like most of the stage or like halfway through the stage before you can actually save the game and have like a checkpoint. And at that spot, you can actually like power up your character here You can give him like more health, like you see at the top of the screen there. You can give him you can give him more combo moves as well, and all of that is earned, or you upgrade that by collecting those little. Hold on a second. You collect it by the points you got there. Those beautiful, like the V points. Those little tabs there that he's picking up, the blue tabs. Those are used to increase your like film reel there, and that allows you to speed up or slow down time for a bit longer. So that was an interesting mechanic. Yeah, it had some pretty tough boss fights that you had to be pretty creative in how you fought them. Like, let me see if I'll show you the one that I hated the most. Yeah, here it is. It was this shark guy. Oh, let me get to the boss here. Yeah, here he is. This guy was a pain, but boy, when I figured out how to defeat him, it was very satisfying. So here he comes. Yeah, Grand Bruce. Yeah, this guy was something else, because he will raise and lower the water at whim, and you have to pay attention because he swims really fast. And you gotta like make sure you zoom in and you do like your slow-mo combos on him in order to get massive damage off of him, because he will heal. So there were some creative ways of fighting these guys, but man, was it frustrating to play through this game. So yeah, Beautiful Joe on the GameCube, interesting game. Excuse me. And yeah, thanks for challenging me to this, you piece of crap, Carl, because I lost years off of my life playing this game because of how stressful it was. Alright, I'm going to swap out the music here. Let's see. Let's do... What do we want to listen to that is YouTube safe? How about this? We'll do some Metroid. Alright, so... The other game that I don't have it physically because it was on my PC, and I'll pull it up here. Record of... Oh, whoops. Lodas War, D-Lit, and Wonder Labyrinth. I'll pull this out right now. Alright. So, this is a game that Nerdy Neo challenged me to, and this was an interesting game. So, it's basically a ripoff of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Both in like art style and gameplay, so a Metroidvania, and you basically play as this elf, and she's one of the main characters in this anime called Record of Lotus, which I still need to watch. But yeah, it was a pretty fun game to play. So you have wind and fire magic that you need to kind of like manage the resources for that. Otherwise, like if you burn through it, then you will, sorry, if you take damage, you'll actually burn through those resources, and then it makes it difficult for you to do maximum amount of damage on the bosses and stuff. So, it was cool to kind of like have a different experience for like a Metroidvania type of game when it comes to like the gameplay there. You also have a ranged weapon, which is new, like a bow and arrow, and that helps with, that's used for boss fights, but as well as puzzle solving. So, that was interesting, like that aspect to it. Of course, there are enemies that are weak to fire or weak to the wind, so you got to balance that out while you play through the game. The story was interesting. It was not like anything too crazy to write home about. So, you play this more for the gameplay than the story, in my opinion. It had a good soundtrack. I will say it did for a indie title. It definitely had a pretty good soundtrack. Yeah, but more or less, this is like Symphony of the Night with just a couple extra gameplay mechanics to it, and a little bit like more modernized like art style when it comes to like the animations and stuff like that. Like it looked really good, as you can see here on screen. So, yeah, not a whole lot to talk about. Kind of like one of those one and done type of games. I don't really have a desire to play it again, but there's like that puzzle there with the bow and arrow, which is that was actually pretty fun. I did like that a lot, doing the puzzles here. So, there you have it. Record of Lodas War, D-Lit, and Wonder Labyrinth. You could play this on Steam. There might be some physical ways of playing this on other consoles, but I played it on Steam, so. Alright, so Jana says, my daughter has a Steam account now, so soon she'll be telling you how to play. And I need to play Beautiful Joe too? No, I don't. I'm fine just playing the first game. I'm good. I'm not a mega Capcom simp like you are there, Carl, so I'm good. Alright, so now we're going to get into the lightning round, and I'm going to try to speed run my way through some of these games, and I'm not going to show gameplay for all of them, but we'll just get through this because we're already at like 1.5 hours, so thank you everybody for hanging in there. So we'll start with Bomberman Hero for the Nintendo 64, and this was a fun game to revisit from my childhood and play through. Banger soundtrack. Gameplay was fun. It's like a little bit of a collectathon for each game level because it has like a kind of like an arcade type of point system to it. It's a 3D platformer. It has some pretty cool boss fights, and yeah, besides that, it's a very short game. You can beat it in like 3 to 4 hours, so not a whole lot to talk about. Definitely check it out for the soundtrack alone. I will say the soundtrack's really good. Another kind of short game was Lego Ninjago Nindroids for the PS Vita, and this is like your typical Lego game. So you have your levels, you have like your power-ups, your collectibles and whatnot. This game is more of a beat-em-up game than like a puzzle-solving game like a lot of other Lego games are, and it ran pretty well on the PS Vita. I actually had a fun time playing it on the go. So fun game overall. I think it's pretty cheap. You probably get it pretty cheap in the US. So this is the Japanese copy, but it was not like overly difficult to play. So might as well get a couple more Lego games out of the way. So we've got Lego Bionicle. Now this one is different than the one that you saw earlier in the. Oh, actually, my bad. I grabbed the wrong game here. Oh, this one I have not played. Whoops. This is not the one I was talking about. So I will show the gameplay for that. Give me a quick second here. I still need to play this Bionicle game, so let me pull it up here. Alright, so the game, where is it? Yeah, here it is. Okay, here we go. So this game is called Bionicle, but the original name of it was called Tales of the Tohonga. And this was a game that I was interested in playing it because of my buddy there, Super Stupidity, and he loves this game a lot. And he made his ROM hack Takua 64 kind of based off this game. So basically, it's an isometric, Game Boy Advance game here. And it's just like a puzzle solving game, but there's also some combat to it, and it's a hard game. It's a bit of a hard game. There's like some throwing mechanics. You gotta throw like fruit or like orbs at enemies, and if you're not accurate with your throwing, you can like waste your resources there. This game I played because I never sat down and actually finished this game, so I finally was able to finish this game. And let me skip around a little bit here. There's a lot of talking because it's a bit of an RPG style, with like talking to people and finding information out. So, yeah, here we go. You visit the 6 different villages on this island, and you kind of like solve their problems for them, which is kind of funny. As this normal character in the game. So it was interesting. There's like some mini games in here, like competitive mini games that were different to play through. So yeah, I would understand if you were like a kid growing up playing this game. It was probably like the coolest thing in the world, but I have like no desire to really replay this game again. So yeah, it was a unique game, I should say. So anyways, moving on to the game that I actually did play, that I have the physical right here, and I do have the physical for that last game. It's just I don't have the box for it. Or I need to check to make sure I do have the box for it. I don't see it on my shelf, so maybe I don't. We've got Bionicle Heroes. So I actually played, let me pull it up here. I had the pleasure, and I'll knock out 3 games in one right here. I had the pleasure of playing all 3 versions of Bionicle Heroes this year. So you have the Game Boy, which is its own version, the DS version, which is a completely different version, and then this is like the home console version, which is also a completely different type of game. And I did a stream for 2 of them, the Game Boy and the console, the home console version. And the Game Boy version is probably my least favorite out of the 3, but it was definitely a different game. And then the DS version is my favorite out of the 3 because it plays like a Metroid type of game, Metroid Prime game, excuse me, or a Doom type of game with the first-person shooter mechanics to it. And then the home console version is this weird mash between a third-person over-the-shooter like Gears of War and like your Lego game where you gotta like go around and collect things and build things to like progress to the level. So 3 different games, all 3 were fun to play, and it was funny just being able to play them all within the same month as well. And I had a blast like playing all 3 of them. So they're pretty cheap to get. The GameCube one is great because it runs at 60 frames, so that was a fun game to play at 60 frames. Game Boy one has it has a decent soundtrack, but I think the DS one surpasses that in terms of like the soundtrack. So if I were you, play the DS one. I think the DS one is definitely the best out of the 3 here. So if you ever get your hands on it. Speaking of Metroid, I had a lot of fun revisiting Metroid Zero Mission this year. And not a whole lot to really say about this other than this is my favorite 2D Metroid game. Love everything about it. The music, the gameplay. It's basically a remake of the original Metroid game because the original Metroid game is terrible. It's a terrible, terrible game. It was cool for its time, but man, it did not age well. And you're lying to yourself if you think it aged well because it did not age well. This was a blast to play on my Analog Pocket. And if you've never played a Metroid game, this is definitely the first one you should start out on. Had a fun time revisiting also Star Wars Republic Commando, playing the Xbox version of this game instead of like the PC version, which is what I grew up playing, and that was a lot of fun. I've pretty sure I've streamed this game too, so you guys can actually did I stream it this year? I might have streamed it this year, but anyways, this was a lot of fun and a great first-person shooter story type of game, and highly recommend this game. Let's see. Moving on, yeah, like I said, we're gonna run through these. Super Mario Galaxy 2, another game that I revisited this year, for the just for the fun of it. Little did I know that this game was gonna come out on the Switch, which I still haven't got my copy of that yet. But yep, my goal is to Nerporial challenged me to complete the Grandmaster Galaxy, which is a very unique name for this game or within this game, but. It's basically like a challenge galaxy, like it's a really, really hard, hard mode for the game. And so my goal is to complete it, so I have bragging rights over him, and I haven't gone around to it yet. But Super Mario Galaxy 2, really cool game, really fun game. A lot of people say it's their favorite 3D Mario game, or it's the best 3D Mario game. I have to kind of disagree on that because, the main caveat is people say that's because of the Yoshi. Yoshi is not my favorite part about this game. Some of the levels of the Yoshi levels in this game are pretty irritating, I guess you can say, and you don't like get to play with him as often. So like it's not like they like over marketed him in this game because you don't really play with him as often as you would think you do. It's most of the time you're playing as Mario. So yeah. The first game, in my opinion, is a lot better, and it's because of the tone of the game. It feels a bit darker than this game. This game is a bit more lighthearted, and you're just going around trying to power up this guy's ship so that you can, well, you're just helping him out. You're not really saving the princess in this game. All right, on to a couple new games. Star Wars Bounty Hunter. Got to play this during the Star Wars month, which was May this year, and this is my first time playing this game, and yeah, this was a lot of fun playing Star Wars Bounty Hunter on the Nintendo GameCube. Definitely a difficult game, it's a very, I would say it's a very difficult platforming game because there's some parts in this game where they're insanely, like you're like flying across like large gaps and just praying that your jetpack will carry you through it. But good grief, the combat was very unique in this game too. It has a cool like bounty system where you can scan people and see if they're up for bounty, and if you capture them, you can like turn them in and get money for it, which is kind of funny. So story was pretty cool because it's a prequel to the Attack of the Clones, the second movie. So you get to see like his like kind of like his you get to see how he got the Slave 1, which is kind of cool. And you also get to see how he got his like his bounty hunter sidekick that he eventually he murks in the second movie. But yeah, pretty fun game, and I enjoyed playing it. Now another game that I did not enjoy on the GameCube, and it was the first time for me, Turok Evolution, and I did stream this game. This game is terrible. This is a really, really bad video game in general, but for a Turok game, I expected a lot better, and it was not good. So it has the core Turok gameplay in mind. So you got your guns, your different guns, like your Doom type of weapons, like just all your range of weapons there, blowing up dinosaurs, blowing up bugs, blowing up humans, and I think aliens at some point. Where this game falls apart is level design. There are some levels in this game that are just really hard to get through because you can't see the enemies because of like the enemies look too similar to the levels, like the environment, I should say. And then on top of that, the enemies are like are attacking you from like really, really far away, so you're not able to like snipe them because you can't really see them, or if you don't have the sniper on you, you're kind of screwed. So you have to like run up on them and hopefully pray that you can get a couple rounds off of them before you die. I will say you're playing this game in like rooms, so you're running in like these small environments, so those are your checkpoints. So as long as you get to the checkpoint or you get to the end of the room, you're fine. You can die as many times as you want. It's not going to be that big of a deal. But there were some levels in this game. Like there was one level in the city that was brutal because you're fighting like a ton of enemies that are attacking you with like bazookas and all these other type of stuff. And it was just like a meat grinder, just running through it and dying multiple times over and over again. Like I said, I streamed this game so you could see my frustration while I was playing it. And then the final boss fight was a joke. It was just like, okay, so we went through hell and we get to the end of it, and then the final boss fight's like over in like less than 10 minutes, or 5 minutes, I should say. So, I do not recommend this game. It's a pretty bad video game in general. Not a lot of budget was put into it. I think they like ran out of budget is what I read online, but it is a far cry from the Turok games on the 64, I should say. And then final GameCube game that is one of the best GameCube games ever made, Star Fox Assault. This is a real game, real Star Fox game. I said real GameCube game, but it is. Beautifully running at 60 frames, beautiful graphics, amazing soundtrack, amazing, dare I say, Star Fox experience that you can't get in the last game. And this is the game that gets overshadowed by the terrible, terrible Star Fox Adventures game that everybody remembers. This game has also fantastic multiplayer to it. Like, I'm trying to think of the game right now. Nerdy Neo's favorite game, 007, GoldenEye. It has like that level of fantastic multiplayer to it, cooperative multiplayer. And the dogfighting in this game is fantastic too. So, love this game to death. I had to play this game as a palate cleanser after suffering through Star Fox Adventures. Because good grief, that was terrible. All right, so stepping away from the baby games, as Nos would classify them as, we'll get into Like a Dragon: Pirates in Hawaii. I have the PS4 copy here, but technically I played it on the PC this year. And this was like an early game this year, and I had a lot of fun playing this game. I know Carl did as well. As of right now, this is either my favorite Yakuza game or it's my second favorite Yakuza game. and it was just a blast. You're running around in Hawaii. You're like you're dressed up as a pirate because of like amnesia, or like there's like a whole joke about it anyways in the game, and you get to control your own pirate ship and do like naval combat. There's a whole like coliseum in this game that's a lot of fun. The side quests in this game are just over the top. It has it has my favorite soundtrack of the year because of the combat, like the favorite soundtrack of 2025, I should say. The combat music, like when you're doing like boss fights and stuff, is just like over the top, like house and EDM and like dubstep type music in this like the Yakuza game. It was just cracking me up while I was playing it. It has a great karaoke song, like new karaoke song in this game. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. So I'm glad I got to play it. Now my goal for 2026 is to continue on my Yakuza journey. So we'll talk more about that later. Next game. This one will take a step back, but I did manage to get a copy of Call of Duty Ghosts. So this is the Xbox version here, the Steelbook. And I know this game, when it first came out, did not have the greatest of reviews, but I thought it was a fun campaign like to go through. I know the multiplayer is very forgettable. A lot of people didn't care for the multiplayer, but it was fun to kind of revisit this game. So, and then let's see. Oh, my bad. This is the game that everyone's was waiting for. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now, funny enough, late last year, or December 2024, I got a new graphics card. And then, because January of 2025 is when the PC port for Rebirth came out, so I streamed the first several hours of this game. I know a lot of you guys watched it. And then I played the rest of the game offline and had a fantastic time playing Rebirth. It was like a dream come true for me, even though I didn't grow up playing Final Fantasy VII. I still could feel like a lot of love was put into the game, as well as like into the characters and the environments and everything. But it was like I had to wait a year to play this game because everybody played this in 2024 on their PS5, so I had to wait till 2025. But eventually I got around and bought the PS5 copy with the collector's edition, so that's why I have it here for you guys to see. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun to play that game. And it was if I got my hands on it in 2024, it would have been my game of the year for 2024, I think. But yeah. Okay, 2 more DS games. I just pulled them off here. So we got Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. This is the first DS game, first Castlevania DS game, and this one was okay, but it definitely had a lot. It had way too much of the like drawing stuff on the touchscreen to like to beat the bosses in this game. That was very annoying. The main gameplay itself was fine, but it definitely is not as good as Portrait of Ruin in my personal opinion. So once again, you could play this in the Dominus collection on the PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch. So you should definitely give this game a chance if you get that collection. The final DS game, Chrono Trigger. This is one that I started this in 2023, but I finished it in 2025, and so I counted it for that. I know I'm gonna get flack here from Carl here in a second, but only for the competition I wanted to count it towards that. But yeah, Chrono Trigger. It took me too long to play this game only because I was getting distracted by a lot of other games. And it was a fun game. I really liked this game a lot. I understand the hype behind it because a lot of people hype this game up. And I think it has a very good story. It has great gameplay to it in terms of like the combat as well as like running around the world and going from time period to time period. It has a really cool kind of like collecting the weapons and the armor and like the accessories and stuff was like a lot of fun. Like trying to find them and whatnot. So yeah, it was really cool to play this game, and I'm looking forward to playing the sequel on the Switch this coming year. Alright, one final game before we get into kind of like the last group of games here, and that is Dino Crisis. Now, I did play Dino Crisis 1 and 2 on the computer, and I went out and bought the PlayStation copy because it was like dirt cheap, but I don't have a PlayStation right now. Um, but this was like a kind of like a life-changing experience for me playing the original Dino Crisis on the computer. Fantastic game. I really enjoyed that game. I like I said in my stream about it, it's like the how do I say this? It's like the Jurassic Park game that I wish that I had growing up, but it was already out there, just I didn't know it existed when I was a kid. Because this game took a lot of inspiration from obviously Jurassic Park, Lost World, and then of course it takes major gameplay designs from Resident Evil, because this was a Resident Evil kind of like spin-off in terms of gameplay. And I just had a fun time playing this game. Everything from the puzzles, the combat, the story, the atmospheric, like the music telling that was done, or how do you say this? The atmospheric music telling, or storytelling through the music, excuse me. That's how you should say it. With the sound effects and everything was just awesome. Like, you gotta play this game with headphones or with a loud TV, and I guess you could play it in the dark too. You don't really need to, because the dinosaurs do a good job of, like, you know, scaring you or whatever. But yeah, fantastic game. I loved it. And oh yeah, that reminds me, I got to make a short about some Dino Crisis related stuff here soon. I just remembered that. All right. So we will get through. Well, once again, we will speed run my way through the rest of these. All right. So one of the biggest Switch 2 games I was anticipating, Donkey Kong Bonanza. Awesome game. I know a lot of my friends here have played it, and they really liked it a lot. Great 3D game, great therapeutic type of game, just sitting around and destroying an environment. Fantastic music as well. And definitely, if you want to buy a Switch 2 and you want to play at least one Switch 2 title, this is your game right here. Had a lot of fun with this. Next, we've got Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. This came out at the beginning of 2025. And this had a little bit of controversy around it, because it's like a full-price game that only has like an HD upgrade to it or whatever. But the main point is you can play this game and Tropical Freeze on the Nintendo Switch now, and it's not locked to the 3DS or the Wii. So it was fun to return to this game. Another Switch 2 game that I got was Mario Kart World, and this was an interesting game. Not my personal favorite Mario Kart. It doesn't rank too high on my list, but it was fun to play. I still need to return and keep playing it, because I only played it like one time through, because I lost interest and I was too busy playing other games. So my goal for this year, 2026, is to keep playing through Mario Kart World and try to like 100% it if I can. So another Switch 2 game. I bought the Switch 1 copy, but I paid for the Switch 2 upgrade, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. One of the most controversial games of 2025, apparently, because everybody all of a sudden came out of the woodwork and decided to be a Metroid Prime fan and have their opinion on this game, even though all the people that complain about this game did not play this game or even play a Metroid Prime game to begin with. So, long story short, this is a fun Metroid Prime game. It's not the best Metroid Prime game, but I think it's a decent Metroid Prime game. It's a good Metroid Prime game, I would say. Not great, but good. I had fun playing it. I like the story. I like the music, and it's a very beautiful looking game for the Nintendo Switch 2, of course. So ran really well as well. So on the Switch 2, I like to try the Switch 1 version and see how well it looks. But anyways. Now, a game that I was, one of my friends told me to buy because it was going to get delisted, and that is Samurai Jack Battle Through Time. This was an interesting game, I will say. So, let's see. It's like an adventure. How do I explain this? It's an adventure game, so you go through like some, levels and whatnot, and you're doing battling and whatnot, but it has... I don't know if Souls is the right example to it. No, because the enemies aren't really hard. It has like a progression system in terms of like the weapons that you have, because you can use different weapons. Like you have your samurai blade, you have the bow and arrow, I believe. You have some other weapons as well. Um, but it has like a progression system where you can level them up. You can level up your moves. Like you have a skill tree as well, which is kind of cool. You have like 3 different skill trees, or for different effects and whatnot. And then you also have to keep in mind that your weapons will wear out over time, so you need to keep them like kind of sharpened. So you gotta like pay to with the coins you collect in the game to like keep them well sharpened or whatever. So it was a fun game. I thought it would run better on the Switch too, but it didn't. I was a bit disappointed, but it ran fine on the Switch itself. So I don't know if I'll ever revisit this game, but if you like Samurai Jack, this is your game. This is a game for you. I would definitely agree. This is a game for Samurai Jack fans, which I'm not one of them. So another game is Castlevania Advanced Collection, specifically Circle of the Moon right here. So I played Circle of the Moon. That was the only game I played so far from this collection, and it was a decent Game Boy Advance Castlevania game. It could have been much better, and I have a funny feeling that the next game on here, which is going to be Harmony of Dissonance, I have a funny feeling that game's going to be much better. Or Aria of Sorrow. That game might be much better as well. But for an entry-level Game Boy Advance Castlevania game, it was not half bad. So another game that I wanted to get through because I got sick and tired of hearing everybody talk about this game, which is Unicorn Overlord. And man, has this game been gassed up to the heavens by everybody since 2022 or 3, whenever it came out. So it was an interesting game. It's more or less the poor man's Fire Emblem, I guess you can say, mixed in with some RTS style gameplay. It had a pretty cool story to it, I will say. I think that's like the strongest point about it is the story. Developed by Vanillaware, so it has obviously some fantastic art style. I think the art style is amazing for this game. But holy cow, this is like this is the micromanaging Karen's dream game, if that makes sense. There is an insane amount of micromanaging you can do in this game for all of the units you collect. Like everything down from like the specific skills that they use at a given moment in the battle, to all the weapons and equipment they have, to the formation of your units, to like leveling them up. Like there's like an insane amount of micromanaging in this game that like I do not have the time to sit down and learn all of it. Like it was just, I don't have all that time to do that, these days, especially when I'm in the middle of this gaming challenge. But the wide variety of units. So the character units, like the ones that have like names and faces, are cool. But halfway through the game, it gets very irritating when the game keeps introducing to you like more and more new enemy types. So you have to learn like more and more and more new counters. And it gets to the point where it's like how do you counter like everything? Like there's just like way too many things to counter. That was the problem with Fire Emblem and Smash Brothers, right? The Fire Emblem characters, in Smash Brothers, all the characters have counters to them. Well, this game has like way too many like counters. Like there's just way too many enemy unit types that it gets a bit overwhelming. So if they would have trimmed the fat for this game, I think I would have enjoyed this game a lot more. But if you're a fan of tactic style games, then this might be for you. Or if you're a Karen that likes micromanaging every aspect of your life, this game is for you as well. All right, 2 more kind of like Switch games here that are related. So one of the other first games I played this 2025 was Xenoblade Chronicles. And this game, I needed to play it to get some series bonus points. So this was a fun game to revisit. But a game that actually came out, a re-release, or a port / remaster that came out in 2025 was Xenoblade Cross. And this was the one and only time that I actually got through this game, because when I first played it on the Wii U, it was really rough trying to play through this game, and it was a fun time. It was a lot of grinding I had to do for XP and everything, but it was a fun time, especially after you get this scale right here, the mech, because you can really just like slay through monsters a lot more quickly, and yeah, the story was pretty disappointing in the long run. I will say it was not the best of the Xenoblade stories. So, and I know I'm gonna get autistic Nos in here screaming at me, "You gotta play Xenogears." I know that, dude. I know that. All right, so 3 more games and then we're done, because we're almost at 2 hours here. So I mentioned to you guys earlier that I got through, or I started playing this new series of games called Ys. So I made it a goal this year to try to get through as many of the Ys games as I possibly could. So, of course, at the beginning of the stream, I showed you Ys Origins. That was like the prequel. And then after that, I started playing Ys 1 and 2. So I'm going to pull it up on screen here. Give me a quick second. Let's show... Yeah, this one right here. Okay. So this is Ys 1 Complete Chronicles. And then there's Ys 2 as well. And you can buy them on the PC, but they originally were released on PSP. And these are actually remasters of the original ones from the TurboGrafx. And, or the, no, not the TurboGrafx. An older console. But I played these remasters, and it was quite interesting because the combat in this game is very different. So let me fast forward. So the combat in this game utilizes this mechanic that I call bumper car mechanic, or they call it the bump system. So you have to run up onto an enemy and bump into them. However, you can't just bump into them head on. That won't work. You have to actually bump into them at an angle because it catches them off guard, and then you can actually like kill them. So that was a really interesting mechanic, especially when you're playing it on hard mode, and the enemy will just like kill you in like 1 to 2 hits until you like start leveling up a lot more. At some point in the game, you do get like a fire rod, I think it is, and you can do like range attacks, and that kind of opens up the game and breaks the game at the same time, so you can attack enemies from a distance. But this was like an interesting game to play just because of that combat system alone. So yeah, I got through 1 and 2 here, and on the PC, and that was a fun time. So then after that, I moved on to the third game, and the third game is actually a remake, because this series has gone through like a weird transformation over like the last 20-30 years now, where like different developers have made games under like the same publisher. So now it's like a single developer, and they're trying to make it more cohesive. So like same art style, more or less same gameplay, like core gameplay, but and then obviously releasing it on modern platforms. So the remake that I played here was Ys Memoir: The Oath in Felghana. And this game actually recently came out. It was released at the beginning of 2025 in the West, because I think this came out in Japan like a couple years ago now. So this was a fun time, and I will throw it up on screen here for you guys to see. Ys Memoir: Oath in Felghana. By the way, a lot of these Ys games are fantastic Switch games or like handheld games. All right. Give me a second here. All right, here we go. Here's some gameplay. So yeah, this does not use the bumper car system. This uses the classic Ys combat, or like the modern Ys combat that I would call it, where you're actually, it's like an action RPG. You're actually hacking and slashing here, and you're gaining levels, and you're gaining like gold, or like in this game you have to collect this special ore or mineral, and then you use that to upgrade your weapons and stuff. So this is an awesome game. It also has the same like 3 elemental powers here, like your fire, wind, and lightning that you need to use to combat different enemies. And it's a bit of a dungeon crawling type of game. So you go through these dungeons and you clear out the mobs, level up, rinse and repeat, with a story on top of it too. So this was a fun game to play on the go on my Switch. I had a lot of fun playing this game, and you'll see a pattern with some other games as well. So that was Ys 3. Or wait a second. Oh no, I might have messed this up, Carl. Let's see. Let me check my Twitter here, because the Ys games have been remade. So like they have like different names. So let me see if I can find this image here. Where is it? I bookmarked it a long time ago. It's gonna take me forever to find it. Oh, here it comes. It's coming. I recognize it now. Oh, here it is. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I was right. This is book 3. Okay, good. So yeah, this is book 3. Because Ys 1 is like book 1 and then book 2, and obviously, so this is book 3, or the 3rd game in the series that's been was remade. A lot of fun, and you guys would have a blast playing it. Now, moving on to, let me double check if this is book 4. Yes, this one is considered book 4. And let me get the video prepared, and I'll put it up here for you guys to see it at least. So this is GameSHLF, and I played the PS Vita version here, and this wait a second. This year, 26? Yeah, 26. It's getting like a port to the Nintendo Switch out in the West, so you guys can actually you guys will be, well, you could play it on PS4. But it's getting like a port for the Switch for some odd reason, so I'm not sure why. Like, I don't know how much of the game will be different. But no, this is a slightly different Ys game than the one I showed you earlier, because this one introduces a party system. So you actually run around with 2 to 3 characters in this party system, and each of the characters have their own like weapons and their own like abilities, and you need to like counter enemies with those different weapons and abilities. So this was a very unique game. Like I said, going from this game number 3 when you're playing by yourself to this party system game was very different and a lot of fun. For a Vita title, very impressed how well it ran. And it has a banger soundtrack. All the Ys games have banger soundtracks. And it has, this game has a lot of depth to it. It has like side quests to it as well. I think some of them are timed. There's a whole cast of like party members that you can find throughout the game that join your party like during the main story. And they all provide different experiences and whatnot. There's a whole skill system as well for like upgrading your individual skills for like your moves and everything. It was a really cool game to play. And I had a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to replaying this game on the Switch and seeing how well it runs on the Switch. So, oh, you know what? I'm a retard. I didn't even put the screen up on display here. There you go. There's the gameplay. So, like I said, you control a party of like 2 to 3 people, and it was just like a blast to just run through this game and play it. So, this looks really good on the PS4. This is some PS4 gameplay right here. Yeah, I like the PS4 look. So I'm kind of hopeful the Switch version will look really good as well too. So there you have it. So this is considered Ys number 4, and this is 100% a remake. So Ys number 4. Now the Ys number 6, I'm gonna have to pull up some gameplay because I played it on the computer, and let's see, yeah, here it is. I have a PC copy of it, like a PC CD of it, but it's better if I just show you the gameplay here. Yi 6 goes back to the single player or the single player type mode here, like the single character mode where you're playing as Adol here. And I guess I should explain something here. So Yi 6 came out like many years ago. Like this was like maybe 15 years ago now. Maybe close to 20. Well, whoops. Obviously, Celceta, this one came out on the Vita as well as the PS4. So this is a bit of a more of a modern game. And then, of course, Oath and Felghana is a bit of more of a modern game. But this is a remaster of an older game that takes the engine from Yi 6. If you see on the screen there, so it can get a bit confusing, but just bear with me here. But yeah, Yi 6, you go back to playing as Adol, and it's more or less the same type of mechanics as Oath and Felghana. You're running around in these big environments. You're interacting with NPCs. You're collecting a mineral that will, help you boost your weapon and your shield and your armor. You have your same like 3 elemental attacks: your fire, wind, and lightning. There's a whole variety of new enemies. And it was a lot of fun to play this game. Actually, I had a lot of fun, kind of going back to this format here, compared to like the 3-party format. So, you could play this on PC. Oh, actually, you have to play it on PC because this game, I believe, is on PS2. But like if you don't own it physically, you have to go buy it on PC. So that's how I played this game, and it's well worth it. It's a nice small adventure to get through. So, trying to think what else I can say about this game. There are some familiar characters that if you play through the games like 1 through whatever, there are some characters that come back to this game that you recognize from like previous games. So that was kind of like a nice like little like Easter egg, I guess you can say. Yeah, I know there's not a whole lot to really say about it. It's a fun game. So I had a lot of fun playing this game. And then the final Yeast game that I completed this year, and I just completed it last night actually, for the year of 2025 I should say, is Yeast 7. And Yeast 7, so this is the PSP version. I played it on the PC, and I kind of regret it because the PC version is a bit, well, I wouldn't say it's broken. There's some UI, like some UI elements that are a bit broken on there, but it was still a fun game to play. It's a very grindy game, so if you want to like really, by the way, I played all of these games on hard mode, so that requires you to grind a bit more and to like level up a lot more and really have your skills and your party members set up. But the PSP version, I bet you, is a bit more difficult because of like the movement because I was playing with like an Xbox controller on the PC. On the PSP, you're playing with that really terrible analog stick, so I bet it's a bit more difficult. So someday I will return to the PSP version. What makes this game interesting is that this game is actually similar to this game as terms of the party system. So you go back to having a 3-party system, so you have 3 different members, and they have their own weapons, their own abilities, their own skills, and they're part of like the main story and everything, and they're following you along. And what was really unique about this game is about halfway through, 2 different party members will swap out with a different character, but they still keep the same like moves and the same weapons and stuff. And that was very unique. It was almost like kind of passing the baton temporarily, and I did not expect to see that in this game, and that was kind of different. So, yeah, story-wise, it was a pretty deep story. I thought it for what it was, and I think it was pretty good. Like it was a fun game, like just to play on the go. If you play this on the PSP, I mean, this is a really good game for the PSP. Like you get a lot of value out of this game. Fantastic soundtrack. It also has like the whole side quest system to it too, so you can get like items through the side quests, and you can also like upgrade your equipment through the side quests. like I said, the story was fine. The characters were all funny and they were all like different, unique. There were some returning characters in this game as well. And yeah, this is number 7 in the series. So it was a good way to kind of close out the year, finishing off this game. So up to this point, I have played Ys 1 through 7, except for number 5, because number 5 is actually locked to a Japanese-only console, and it's actually kind of like how do you say this? It's kind of like the cousin of the family. Like the main company doesn't recognize that game as canon apparently, so it doesn't even count in the grander story. So if I ever get a chance to play that game, it'll probably have to be like a ROM, and I don't really like playing ROM games, so I like playing like actual games. So Ys 7, 1 through 7, I should say, and I'm gonna start off 2026 strong by playing Ys 8, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that. And actually, real quickly, let me show you guys some gameplay of Ys 7. I should probably do that, so you have a frame of reference at least. All right, pulling it up. Yeah, so here's some gameplay of Ys 7 here. Oh, whoops, from the PC. So yeah, it's similar to, Celceta. You're running around, fighting enemies with your party member on you. He's just telling you how the game works. There's a whole teleportation system that you unlock about halfway through the game, I think. So, pretty cool game. I liked it. I was surprisingly, it's probably originally I would have ranked this lower on the Ys game list, but it's a bit higher now. So I'll have to do a video of that later this coming year, I should say. So, yeah. So there you have it. Ys 7. Decent game overall. It was a fun time. Took a lot longer than I expected to, so yeah. Alright, so that's gonna kind of do it for my 2025 I guess gaming recap here. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm gonna mute the music here and turn everything off. So yeah, 2025, in total, I completed 26 games, which was quite a bit. Like I said, it's the most I've ever completed in a single year that I can recall, because I've never played maybe more than 30 games in a single year. So a lot of fun. I played a lot of different games. I got through most of the Star Fox games except for Zero. That was the game I was looking forward to playing this year, but my capture card kind of crapped out on me. Once again, I played through the first 7 Ys games. Played Dino Crisis 1 through 2. That was a lot of fun. Played a few indie games here and there. Obviously, there was some, a lot of Switch games this year. I played, let's see. I played 2, 4, 6, 7, or 9 Switch games. But I played a lot more PC games this year because of, what was available for me. So there were games that I played that I didn't complete, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to try to complete them here in 2026, and hopefully, I can get through them, and then, once we get into 2026 here, or we already are in it, but once I actually can finish this challenge and actually start playing games on my own time, I'm looking forward to a couple games here, so I got them out. I'll bring up the camera one more time. So games that I'm looking forward to in 2026 for the 3 that I have physically, and then the ones that still need to be released. So you've got Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana. I've been waiting a long time to play this game, and I finally have earned the right to play this game after powering my way through 7 games. So Ys 8 is going to be, I'm going to start off this game here in a couple weeks, I think. Or actually, no, I'll probably start it next week. So this will be a lot of fun to play on the Switch. And then Pirates of the Caribbean for the Xbox. This is a game that I'm really hoping I'm not overhyping it, because I'm very curious to see what kind of game this Pirates game is going to be. Published by Bethesda, by the way, for the Xbox. And then kind of the last kind of physical game I got here for 2026 is Castlevania Curse of Darkness. And I did not know this was on the Xbox, so I'm very excited to play through this game and see how janky it is or how good it is. So this will be a lot of fun. And the last two games, the Pirates and the Castlevania game here, I will be streaming for you guys. So don't worry, they'll be out there. In terms of new releases in 2026, let me do this. Yeah. So I'm not going to play the trailer for it, but I will tell you guys the name of it because I don't want to spoil myself right now. But this year, my game of the year for 2025 was Trails in the Sky, the first chapter. I guess I should close out by saying that. And let me... Oh, hold on a second. Let me bring this up on screen. And then we'll be done with this stream. Quick shout out to some people that joined. Viking Warrior, thanks for coming, man. Nerporeal Lifeform, always there to be the Debbie Downer in the chat. I'm just messing. And of course, Pop Culture Mechanic, my favorite mechanic. How's it going, good sir? All right, so Trails in the Sky, first chapter. This was my game of the year for 2025, and I had an absolute blast playing this game. This is a beautiful game and like on all levels. I played the original game this year, by the way, and then in 2026 I'm going to play the second chapter before the remake comes out. And I played this on the PC. I'm still waiting for my Switch copy to come in from LRG, so maybe that'll be 3 years from now. This was fantastic. So for 2026, what I'm looking forward to is Trails in the Sky second chapter, which there is not a good... I don't understand why there's not a good high-quality image here. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Trails in the Sky second chapter. So it's the remake of the second game, and I am very excited to play this because I know nothing about what's going on into that, and I'm looking forward to playing the original game first before I jump into that. So that's that game. And then there was one other game I was trying to think about. Let me see. 2026 video game releases. Let's look it up real quickly. We'll go to all because we don't need to look at images. So I'm trying to think about what was the other game I was excited for. At least one more game I'm looking forward to in 2026 before we close out this stream. And what's up, Nerd Takes? Good to see you, man. All right, looking. So I guess, it's either going to be, I just saw it on the list here. Give me one quick second. Where'd it go? Oh, Densha Attack. So this is an indie title. I'll pull up a video of it here in a second. So either Densha Attack, I guess Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. We'll see how good or bad that game is going to be. Oh, and then Onimusha Way of the Sword. That's another one I'm excited to get into this coming year for 2026. So, how about I show you guys? Let's look at Densha Attack. I'll just show some gameplay with no audio. Because this game looks like a blast. Actually, wait a minute. I could show gameplay or some audio. Hold on a second. YouTube audio. Let me just link it up for you guys here. All right. Hopefully it will come through. Let me stop my music that's playing in the background. Yeah, this game is going to be a blast, and I know Carl and I are like really excited for this, and it's just going to be like just so much fun to run through this game, and everything about it. You know, the gameplay, the music. I wonder if there's gonna be a customization with like the train itself. If there's gonna be like a skill system, like an RPG type skill system. You know, it's gonna be a blast. And yeah, it looks really, really good. So, yeah, so that's Densha Attack. It's coming out in 2026, and it should be pretty good. So, appreciate everybody that came on by this kind of like special stream, and of course the vlog, or the sorry, not the vlog. I'll leave this up as a normal video so you guys can rewatch it from the beginning. But I went over like most of the games I played in 2025. I completed 65 of them, and I showed off most of the physical games that I completed on camera here, and showed some gameplay as well. It was a fun year, a great year for gaming, both like new games and old games that I completed, and I'm looking forward to doing the same thing in 2026 without the challenge, you know, just playing games at my own pace, and just really enjoying them, and not worrying about like trying to you know, rush through them, I guess you can say. So appreciate you guys hanging out with me for almost 2.5 hours. This was a lot of fun, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of your holidays and your weekend. And I will catch you guys, I don't know, maybe next week we'll do a video game stream. We'll see how the schedule's going. But thanks again for tuning in. And let me see if I have the right outro video for you guys to for you guys to watch.
Wait. Sorry, man. I feel like I failed you.
Hey, anybody there?
So, I hear you've been pretty busy.